Each week, I'm bringing along a different origami fold to encourage you to take some time out for your well-being. Now, this week is a rather exciting one because we've teamed up with the Bodlean Libraries, which are in Oxford, which is where I live. And this is part of a special event which will be for the public, and it's celebrating a philosopher called John Locke, and he was English, born in 1632 and lived until 1704. And he was really interested in thinking about yourself, about to do with issues of identity, of who you are, what you are. And a very good friend of mine who's an origamist, Cliff Landesman, has put together a little exhibition combining origami and philosophy. So we're really keen to invite you to join us with folding while thinking about many profound things as well, learning and creating, and we hope you're going to enjoy this. Cliff also does work with patients in hospital too, so there's a lovely link. So this video, we're going to do two things, two for the price of one today. So one is we're going to make these fantastic medieval boot, which is a traditional piece of origami. I'll tell you more about that. Absolutely fascinating. I've only just learnt this from Cliff, but it's old. So one is a medieval boot. The other, slightly less medieval, but from someone called Jeremy Shafer, and he's invented a super simple, beautiful piece of origami which will help you put your phone in a little stand. So just one piece of paper and you can put it in a stand. So it's super simple, and maybe we'll start with that because that's a nice simple one. So if you grab yourself some paper, and I will show you how to fold. Now, John Locke thought that we were born almost like a little blank slate, like a blank piece of paper. And in a way, origami is like that, or maybe doing anything creative. You start off just knowing nothing, but with experience and doing things, you find things out along the way. So let's first of all make a little phone stand because it's a really nice thing to do. So thanks to Jeremy Shafer. So I've got here a piece of A4 paper, and all I'm going to do is fold it in half, like so. So I'll also be doing these folds live as well in the Weston Library, which I'm looking forward to. But these films will support you because maybe you're not there the whole time, maybe you can't get there, you're not in Oxford. I'm going to do a tiny little nick, and there we go, there. So there we go, piece of paper. I'm going to use this half piece of paper. So first of all, I'm going to make a square. This is often the way with origami. Start with a square. It's like a little building block. And we're going to take a corner and bring it over there to make our square. Yes, so John Locke, thought we were like this blank piece of paper. We start off with no real ideas and we learn from others. And actually origami is all about learning from others. So next we're going to remove this rectangle. So turn it over. Pick up this side, bring it back, fold it down. You can see I'm lining up. It looks a bit like a Robin Hood's hat, I just think, at this point, like so. And again, I'm going to open it up, little tiny neck, and then you should be able to tear off that strip. Maybe that's useful for making lists. That's what I often use for them. So if you open it up, you have got a square. And I'm going to do the other diagonal line as well. So simply taking this corner and folding it over. Now I'm going to keep it closed in that position. We've only got one more thing to do. It is the simplest piece of origami, but it's useful and it can be such fun to do something practical. So I'm going to take this corner and bring it up to the top, like so. Believe it or not, you've made your phone stand. Yes. So how to make it a phone stand? It just looks like a flat piece of paper. Is to open it up in the middle there. Can you see it's gone from being flat like this? I've opened up in the middle. And you'll find it forms a nice little, moving it around, it forms a nice little kind of triangle inside. And to get it to stay a little bit better, it's quite good, I think, for the bottom edge, which has got that little flap there. You can do a little tiny rim there. It just means that it stays a little bit better. So you can just fold it up as a little tiny rim there. There we go. And that is it. So I'm going to grab my phone, just check that this works. But you should be able to just pop it in there. And now you could use it to watch things. Or maybe you could use it to prop up a book, and that's what it's used for in the exhibition. So, but this is maybe something useful at home, and I hope you enjoyed that. Again, that idea was passed on from one to another. So next we're going to make a little medieval boot. And one of the things he thought he would think about is philosophy thought experiments. The idea of thinking up a situation, presenting it to yourself and to others and thinking, what would happen? It's really fun. I love thought experiments. So the thought experiment he had was, if you could take the soul of a prince and put it into a cobbler, someone who makes shoes, would that person be a prince? It's maybe a question for you to think about. What is a soul as well? Is it the brain or is it something else? These are great questions. So these are actually also questions which children will often ask. Things like that. How could you take one and change it to another? Great questions. So this medieval boot, it really does look so medieval. And it's not from Japan, this one. It's it comes from napkin folding, and this is something which developed particularly in Germany, in medieval Germany. So it comes from a long time ago, around this kind of time, medieval times. So John Locke, born in 1632. So this feels like a good little link. So yeah, people would do this for special banquets. So this is very much a medieval boot. I hope you're going to enjoy this. I love imagining what could stand in it as well. So how to make your own medieval boot. So again, I'm going to get a piece of paper. I'm going to get myself a A4 piece of paper. So it's a big piece of paper. And I'm going to make a big square. So I'm going to take a corner. I'm going to make a reasonable sized boot. And I'm lining it up to make a square first of all. And then we'll take it from there. So again, just take your time. Folding it down. I've lined it up. I just find it so calming just taking your time. And just making sure it's all in the right position. There we go. That's right. And I'm going to now remove the rectangle, turning it over, pulling this back and squashing it down. Like so. So again, it looks like a Robin Hood's hat. And I'm going to remove that rectangle. So I'm turning it over. So I've got a good strong fold. I can do a little tiny neck there. And now I can just gently tear that off. And what you've got there is a nice big square. Now you can actually make two boots from this because we're going to actually just use a rectangle for this. So I'm going to take my square, fold it in half. So you could repeat what we're doing second time and then you can have your own little pair of boots. So folding it over. Good strong fold, it's very relaxing that way and it all works well too. And again, a little tiny neck, and you should be able to tear that off. There we go. So I'm going to use just one of these rectangles. So our first step is to take your rectangle and fold it in half. So it's like that. I'm going to fold it in half. There we go. Like so. Now next I want to give it a halfway line. So I'm going to take this end and match it up with this end just to give it a halfway point. Like so. There we go. And I'm going to open it up. There we go. So we've got our halfway line there. Now our next step is we're going to take this long side at the bottom and lift it up. So it's lining up there. So that bottom line I'm going to bring up to that middle line. And squashing it down like so. And I'm going to do the same with the other side. So that bottom edge, bring it along that middle line. There we go. So there we go. So our next step now is to take this diagonal edge and bring it into the middle. So it's getting to be quite a few layers already. There we go. Looks like it could be a good paper aeroplane too. This side, bring it to the middle. There we go. Okay, nice and thick. Great. So as it is, I want you to fold it up. like so. So I've got my piece and I'm just going to fold it up like so. There we go. So it's looking like this. Now I am going to turn it over like so. So this is going to be the bottom of the boot. You can see this is like the top of it. This is the underneath of your boot. This is the top of it. That's great. So our next step is to take just one side and we're going to give it the side of the boot. So I hope you've got it in that position. Is lifting this up and we're going to line it up along there. Like so. Can you see little boots emerging? So I'm going to lift this up along that line. With origami, good idea just to be really patient and kind to yourself. That really helps. Great. How's it going for you? We are getting there. So you can see there is a little boot there. So what we're going to have to do next is this side. We're going to sort of reform it a little bit and then later on we'll be able to tuck it into this little pocket. So we're just making it a little bit more sort of narrower so that we will actually be able to fit it in there. So that's our next step that we're doing. Right. So I'm just going to look at this area. So we've got our boot there. Looking at this area. And we're going to narrow this up. Let me see. So I am going to take this. I'm just going to have to see for myself first of all what I'm going to do there. There we go. So we've got a little boot there and I am going to take this and I am going to fold it up. Can you see I'm folding this bottom edge up so it's bringing it there and this almost sort of lines up. Can you see, so it's that bottom edge there, we've got our boot sticking up there, bottom edge, and I'm folding it up and so it's just like a little bit sticking up here. That's great. Now I'm going to take the other side and I'm folding it from there to around that bit there. Bit of a guesstimate, but really all you're doing is narrowing it up like so. That's it. And the reason that we've made it narrow is because we're next going to tuck it into that. There's a little pocket there. Little pocket there. So we're going to now keep that all closed up and we're going to curl it round. It's quite thick. And we're going to poke it in there. Right. Definitely a moment of concentration. You might find your tongue sticking out at this point. I'm going to try and shove it in there. Good old concentration. Oh, I'm trying to open up that hole a little bit more and push it in. So there we go. We should be able to fit it in. Oh, definitely lots of concentration needed. There we go. I think copy paper is rather good actually. Mine's looking a little wrinkled. It'll be fine. Right, so we have got a boot and it does stay together, but at the moment it's a bit of a flat boot. So first of all we can open it up. So if we get to that back little layer there, pop your finger in and just widen it out a bit. There we go. Then you feel like you could actually get a foot in there. You won't be able to get the foot all the way in. And the next bit is the shoe, which is really nice, is giving it some shaping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop my finger under there and I'm slowly kind of curling it up, feeding it round, and it just gives it this lovely, lovely shape. Very sculptural. And the more you're sort of bringing it up, the more you'll curl it, so it could be a really beautiful little medieval shoe. I hope that's worked for you. I hope you've managed to do both your little phone or book stand as well as a little medieval boot. So would it be the cobbler's soul who might be stepping into this boot, or the prince? I don't know. It's up to you. Thank you. I hope you've enjoyed this.